Death is the great equalizer. Ladies and gentlemen, gents, gals, everybody in the audience, welcome back on in to the Blue Collar Psychiatrist. Today, we're going to talk about Mr. Important. A little background. You know, people tend, or the average person, I hate to say, but I'm going to say it, often worship, idol worship of people of money, of means. It could be actors, it could be athletes, it could be other people with a lot of money and a lot of notoriety. And people worship these other people. They worship them. And I say to myself, why? Why do they worship them? Are they jealous of them? Are they really thinking that they're going to, and it's going to rub off on them, that they're going to become wealthy and famous too? It doesn't make any sense. It is a total waste of time. Instead of working on themselves, making themselves better, getting a better education, getting a better job, developing their native skills to the highest degree, instead of that, they're either watching these people on TV and they're so enraptured by these people, whether it's a beautiful woman who's an actress or handsome man who's an actor or athletes, and they are just mesmerized by these people. And I don't understand it. It does tell me one thing. They do not have a life of their own. Because if you do, there is no need to do it. Now, there's nothing wrong with watching an athlete play. There's nothing wrong with watching a television program or a movie where you have a famous actor. There's nothing wrong with it. But these people are absorbed by this. You go into a supermarket. What do you see in the checkout line? You see magazines, scandal sheets as they call them, of all these famous people. So-and-so got divorced, so-and-so had an abortion, so-and-so got married, so-and-so is having marital problems, to the point that it becomes ridiculous. Who cares? Who cares? Work on yourself. Make yourself a better person. Do what's best for you and your family. Instead of wasting your irreplaceable time on this nonsense. Is that all you have to do with your time? If you want to do it, go ahead. But don't cry to me later when you don't have any money or you have lost everything that you had or that you're disappointed with the way your life turned out. Don't come back and tell me that because you wasted your time. Again, time. If I have to repeat it 10,000 times, I will repeat it. Time, 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 time. The most valuable currency is time. If you choose to waste it, go ahead. You'll never get it back. Now, I'm thinking years ago, where I used to live, there was a man who was a businessman involved in a lot of high-profile projects and businesses, but he was also involved in charitable organizations, president of various houses of worship, very, quote, community involved. And every time he would come into a room, an auditorium, a hush would come over that room as if to give him his due respect. And he was riding high. But then age crept up on him, and he met the fate that all mortals do. He passed from this earth. And I found it interesting that in the minutes of one of the institutions where he, I think, was president or chairman, They reviewed the previous month's meeting minutes. And they said, and I'm going to call him Mr. Important, "We remember with great fondness Mr. Important, whose contributions to this organization helped us tremendously in many, many ways. And now on to further business. The building committee has decided that we are going to repair the storm damage that was done to the screens and whatever." One sentence about Mr. Important. That shows you how much it means in the long term. Mr. Important even had a name, his name on a plaque in a school. Do you think those kids knew who he was? They would pass through that corridor every day. And I guarantee you very few, if any, were even interested enough to even wonder who was Mr. Important. Streets! City streets are named after Mr. Important. But after a few years, even though thousands of people are driving on that street every single day, nobody even thinks that Mr. Important Street is named after a man who did this, that, and the other, who was so important. Nobody even thinks about it. So this is a foolish enterprise of worshiping these people. They all come to the same conclusion as all humans do. Death is the great equalizer. And so I wonder about people who give up so much of their precious time to idolizing these people. By the way, not all, but some of them, shall we say, are on the low end of morality. There's a lot of stories I could tell you about Mr. Important, but I'm not going to do it at this point. But we know that many people in places of power are less than reputable. Sometimes they're the scum of the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, use your time more wisely. Quit idolizing these people. They don't even think about you. Why should you think about them? Just because they're famous or have money? Work on yourself. Forget them. Work on yourself. Make yourself the best version of who you are. Make your family as harmonious as possible. Find the work that is for you and that it gives you pleasure. Work on yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I remind you, drink and drink abundantly from the fountain of life. See you next time!